up, Taiwan? I'm Laurel Stewart with the news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Several world leaders are advocating for Taiwan's inclusion as they gather in New York for the annual UN Assembly. They say China is misinterpreting a UN resolution to keep Taiwan at the door.
Years ago, China wrongly interpreted UNGA Resolution 2758. And today, it continues to claim that Taiwan is a part of the People's Republic. The end result has been Taiwan been silenced. The 23 million people's voices have been kept unheard, keeping Taiwan out of fully participating in the UN system and contributing to the world.
Palawan President Serangil Whips Jr. says including Taiwan will help strengthen the United Nations. The leaders of Paraguay and the Marshall Islands, both allies of Taiwan, also voiced support during the UN Assembly. Taiwan has been excluded from the UN since 1971, when the People's Republic of China was recognized as the only representative of China under Resolution 2758. The resolution does not mention Taiwan by name or say that Taiwan cannot participate in the UN or its agencies. As the war in Ukraine continues, Czech President Petr Pavel called on other countries to pay attention to rising tensions in the Taiwan Strait.
Turning a blind eye to Ukraine today is a green light to any future aggressor anywhere in the world. Disruptions of the status quo in the Taiwan Strait or elsewhere in the Indo-Pacific would further destabilize global security and trade. Geographical distance offers no protection. Security in one part of the world is directly linked to security everywhere.
The UN General Assembly lasts through next Monday. Social media app TikTok will stay alive in the US after President Donald Trump signed an executive order creating a new joint venture to run the app's business there.
There was some resistance on the Chinese side, but the fundamental thing that we wanted to accomplish is that we wanted to keep TikTok operating, but we also wanted to make sure that we protected Americans' data privacy as required by law, both because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's a legal requirement of the law that was passed last year by Congress.
The deal meets the requirements of a national security law forcing TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell its US operations or face a ban. Under the plan, American investors will control the majority of TikTok's US business, including its powerful algorithm. ByteDance and its Chinese backers will hold less than 20%. Analysts say the move eases bipartisan concerns in Washington that Beijing could use the app to spread propaganda. While the new deal from Trump may keep TikTok running in the US, here in Taiwan, the popular social media app is still seen as a national security threat. Tiffany Wong reports.
TikTok, one of the most popular apps in the world, has been at the center of tensions between the US and China. The Chinese-owned app has 170 million users in the US, casting huge influence via screens everywhere. Estimates show that in Taiwan, over a third of the population uses it, and that figure is highest in younger age groups. It's an impressive reach with dangerous implications. According to one study of young TikTok users in Taiwan, the Chinese-owned app pushes China-friendly political content, sometimes even stirring public distrust in Taiwanese politicians. That messaging influences Taiwanese people's opinions of their government, political parties, and even their views on China.
I think one of the key points that TikTok often wanted to, or what we call the information manipulation, trying to deliver through TikTok to Taiwanese society is to emphasize the image that even though being unified, they will have no significant change for normal citizens. And the results actually surprised us as well, because it did making people become more pro-China, become more have a positive image about PRC's governance, and also making people have more skepticism ideas to Taiwanese citizens and Taiwanese governance.
In January, TikTok temporarily went dark in the U.S. when its Chinese parent company ByteDance couldn't meet a deadline to divest from the U.S. headquartered app. The U.S. government's demands were met with resistance from users, with hundreds of thousands of them migrating in protest to Red Note, the foreign edition of another Chinese app, Xiaohongshu. In Taiwan, TikTok is only banned from government-issued devices, those used by public servants who could have access to sensitive information. Lawmakers are still trying to figure out how to regulate the app, which doesn't officially have business operations in Taiwan.
TikTok 在台湾落地，最主要的问题是演算法不透明，资料库在境外，内容审核在境外，无论官方还是民意代表都难以及时监管。
But ordinary users in Taiwan seemed unconcerned about a potential ban of the app.
我觉得应该还会有其他类似的网站会出现，所以对我来说可能还好。
Others think it could be used as a platform to promote Taiwanese people's ideas instead of China's.
如果政府它不开放抖音，是怕被我们各国的声量来影响到我们台湾的想法的话，那我觉得它可以开放。然后，因为我们台湾的网友其实都蛮有创意的，所以现在要是开放一阵子，然后让台湾的人可以更容易了解到抖音，更容易接触到抖音，去搞不好上面的内容，台湾人创作的内容并不会比各国所创作的内容还要少。
And lawmakers agree that an outright ban is out of the question, but they say it's tricky, from balancing national security to protecting citizens' freedom and overall online safety.
我想用这样的一个方式，去用禁止的思维，我觉得还不如去思考我们如何创造我们属于中华民国台湾自己在社群服务上的竞争力。否则，只不过看到东西就不准使用，或者用禁止的方式，我想我们整体的社会智商，还有我们人民的资讯自由度，反而会受到影响。
完全的以禁止的方式来处理的话呢，不但是没有去符合比例原则，也就等于是没有去考虑刚刚讲的在不同的层次我们面临的问题应该要用怎么样的一个法律手段。所以我认为呢，依照我们现行的法律以及之后不管是美国那边的这一个采购的进行还有呢台湾这边呢还有新的自动安全管理法的规范，用这样的一个方式来管制这个所谓的这一个会对儿童有害的或者有诈欺的，甚至涉及国安的呢，这样才是一个比较妥适的方案。
With the U.S. making moves to wrestle control of TikTok and its data and keep it out of China's hands, the app may once again be at the center of national security discussions in Taiwan, too, as the debate between internet freedoms and digital safety continues. Scott Huang and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting US chipmaker Intel approaching Taiwan's TSMC about possible investments or a manufacturing partnership. No further details of the talks were revealed, and neither companies have commented. The two tech giants previously talked in April about creating a joint venture, with TSMC potentially holding a 20% stake. Intel has seen a steady stream of investments and partnerships with other major tech players in recent weeks, and the US government also recently took a 10% stake in Intel, investing nearly $8 billion. It comes as the US grows uneasy about depending on Taiwan for advanced chips, and as Taiwan worries about production shifting overseas. Taiwan has pressed pause on a move to restrict chip exports to South Africa, after South Africa said it's ready to talk about a dispute over Taiwan's representative offices there. South Africa earlier downgraded and renamed the offices and had been putting pressure on Taiwan to move one of them out of the capital, Pretoria. For a closer look at Taiwan's chip reversal, John Van Trieste spoke to Leonard Chow, Taiwan's former ambassador to Swaziland. That's South Africa's neighbour, which is now known as Eswatini.
As someone who knows the Southern African region intimately, what do you make of Taiwan's decision to go back on its earlier announcement that it was going to put export controls on chips headed for South Africa?
Obviously, this is a very it's an insulting move to downgrade our true office in South Africa, including the main office in Pretoria. Not only unilaterally renaming them, and also, forcing the office, the main office, to relocate from Pretoria currently to Johannesburg unilaterally. So I think we will force, as the saying goes, we've been backed into the corner. I think so. We came up with this as this unfortunate move. And now that I was told that the South African government has agreed finally to talk with us. So that's why MOFA this time around, said, okay, fine, you like to talk, then let's talk.
Do you see Taiwan using chips and other tech export controls in the future as a diplomatic bargaining tool?
Well, I don't rule out the possibility. After all, the TSMC of Taiwan has become household names around the world, and we are the major, supplier and producer of the most sophisticated chips today. So that's become it's a wonderful and a valuable, resource of Taiwan's government. So we hate to. I like to emphasize, John, that we hate to impose any restrictions on the export control of chips to any countries around the world. But unless and until the certain countries give us a reason to.
If Taiwan were to go ahead and use chips as a bargaining tool in diplomacy, can you see any downsides? For instance, would it increase countries like South Africa's dependence on Chinese competitors?
Any international move, either politically or economically, definitely has some pros and cons. There might be some downside, but I think we just we were forced to try. Whether it's working, we don't know yet. But we hate to do that. We hate. I repeat that we hate to do that unless we were given a reason to.
That was Leonard Chow, Taiwan's former ambassador to Swaziland. At least 14 people are now confirmed dead after a dam in Hualien burst its banks due to heavy rainfall brought by Typhoon Ragasa earlier this week. Victims' relatives and survivors say there was no evacuation order despite the risk. John Van Trieste is back with this report.
Rescuers and search dogs scour the mud and the destruction in Hualien County. It's been 3 days since a lake in the mountains violently burst its banks in a typhoon, killing at least 14 in the town below. Victims' relatives and survivors agree. There was no early warning and no evacuation order, despite alarm at Taiwan's forestry agency at the state of the lake, and recommendations to the local government to get locals out. Still, an evacuation order would have had to come from the county government, and it didn't. The local district court is set to investigate whether negligence is to blame for the deaths. The fire agency says locals did have some warning, including emergency text messages and loudspeaker broadcasts.
村里广播有点问题啊，所以警察的派出所啊，它的警车的出动的一个广播，跟消防分队的消防车出动巡逻的广播啊，是不断在进行。
But many in the area say they didn't know there was any danger before the surging floodwaters poured in. The central government says the failure to properly warn and evacuate residents needs investigating. The Interior Ministry says Taiwan's early warning system should have given ample warning.
这个告警系统很多人以为说一次发送出去就结束，不是。如果它的危机或者是潜在的危险还在的话，每2个小时你只要靠近它那个相关的警戒范围，它就会自动告诉你。
As accusations against the Hualien County government spread online and investigations begin, the search for the 11 people still missing continues, with many residents banding together in mutual aid to try and rebuild a community in ruins. Andy Xue and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, let's take a look at the cherry blossoms in central Taiwan, which are blooming a whole season early, potentially because of recent typhoon weather. I'm Laurel Stewart. Take care and see you next time.